The United Kingdom is halving, cutting in half is what I'm trying to say, people. Its aid to Nigeria, and it wants more action against Boko Haram. This is coming to you from Adola T. Salu, who is writing for the Daily Trust, and he says the British government has halved the amount of humanitarian aid it gives to Nigeria while calling on its leaders to do more to tackle extremist group Boko Haram. The UK will give the African country about $257 million over aid over 4 years from 2018 to 2022. The amounts to, this amounts to about half the amount given in 2017 and below the $70 million provided in 2016. Foreign Secretary Boris Johnson and International Development Secretary Pratik Patel are in Nigeria to assess the UK's response to the country's humanitarian crisis caused by the Islamic terrorist group Boko Haram's insurgency. So, number of things that I can take from this story is that we heard similar reports about the United States cutting off its aid to certain African nations and actually using that aid as a weapon to get them to implement domestic policies that the Western governments want to see, regardless of the will of the people who actually live there. And I heard a couple of African leaders say, hey, this is a good thing because it will wean Africa off of its Western dependence. All right. And it's just funny to me that they want to punish all these people because Boko Haram is doing what it's doing when these Western countries have destabilized Africa so that they could put Africa in a dependent situation. Cannot forget the recent murder, well, that was in 2011, the state-sanctioned assassination of Muammar Gaddafi, who was doing a lot of work towards helping Africa gain its financial independence. Now, these people need help, most certainly they do. But what they need even more is strong leaders who are going to take control of their nation's natural resources and stop being submissive to these Western governments and corporations. That's why they killed Gaddafi. And I think Mugabe, who is the president of Zimbabwe, recently criticized African Union nations for apparently giving the Western nations the green light to go ahead and attack one of their African Union members in Libya. Even though Libya was doing much to help these countries and was developing a African currency based on the gold dinar, and France didn't like that, of course, because that would liberate some of its former colonies, who they are forcing to use the French franc and what have you. So that's why they signed on to the overthrow of the rightful Libyan government, and the UN did nothing. So, they have destabilized these regions. They have created the conditions for terrorism to thrive. And they just took out one of the leaders who was most competent in going after these terrorists in Africa, and that was Gaddafi again. So when we look to Korea, it should be clear to you why nations such as that one want nuclear weapons, because it's a great deterrent. All right, so you're listening to Black Talk Radio, afternoon music mix with news, information, and more.